Hey everyone, Bob Thibodeau here. Welcome to your daily leadership tip for today. We're so glad you're joining us. Yesterday, we were talking about how I outlined small routine decisions that can have major impacts on your business. As a leader, you need to delegate that authority to other people to make those daily or routine decisions. And when you do delegate that authority, you also need to make sure they are making those decisions within the guidelines of the company or that you've laid out. Now, today, I'm going to be talking about making those strategic decisions. And I want to look at some of the major decisions that leaders are supposed to make. And by delegating the small routine tasks to others, it allows you as a leader to spend adequate time on the major strategic decision-making process for the business. This is where you actually earn your keep, all right? Now, if you're spending the majority of your time on the small decision-making processes, you don't have the time to adequately research and gather all the facts for those long-term decisions. And the long-term decisions are the ones that will impact your organization way down the road. The strategic decisions do not involve quick successes. I mean, this type of leadership and decision-making usually will not ever see an immediate reaction or from its implementation. It won't even see an immediate implementation because it's going to take planning, strategic, long-term planning to even begin to implement the decisions. And that's why the decision-making process is so important in this strategic decision-making for the leaders, because you're not going to be able to see the results for years once the planning actually goes into action. Take, for example, let's say you were considering an investment strategy for your company to implement a pension fund. All right, so you're talking 20, 30 years before those funds will need to be available. Now, naturally, you'd want to get a real nice return for your employees for their retirement, right? So after doing some quick research, you decide plan A because they like investing in IPOs and they have a great rate of return. Well, would you invest 100% of your employees' retirement contributions that they're trusting your company for their pensions? Would you trust that to an IPO, mutual fund or whatever that invests only in IPOs? I mean, it may look like you make a lot of money that way, but if you did your due diligence, you'd realize that the IPO market is a very volatile and unpredictable market. And that if you actually planned out, what I recommend is 3 different scenarios for each decision that you make. Actually, you can do more, 3 decisions based upon what your goals are. Let's put it like that. And one of those was this IPO market, and then a conservative, maybe a mix as the third. You'd realize that there's a lot of volatility and a lot of risk involved strictly with going for those big returns. So you might want to choose a different one. And what I recommend is, as I explained, for every decision you're about to make, be it an investment fund, be it an expansion, whatever the case may be, list out 3 different ways this could work. And then for each one of those decisions that you're going to be looking at and doing your research on, this isn't just sitting down over coffee with someone one day and sketching it out on a napkin. I'm talking about due diligence, thorough research. And out of these 3 different paths that you could take and lead your company down, you should come up with at least 3 positive and 3 negative scenarios of what's going to happen if you implement this plan, plan A, plan B, plan C. Then, after doing all of that research, you come back and you say, okay, I really don't like the way this one's looking. Pluses or minuses, it's just not working out. This one has some possibilities, but I really like how this one looks. Now you've done your due diligence. You know how it's going to probably end up. And now you can go through the implementation process and all the planning and all that. But all of this comes down to the leader doing the research and spending adequate time in doing the research, not just rushing through it. This is not something that you can just sit down over a weekend at the beach while you're sipping your latte or whatever, watching the ocean, and then come back Monday morning and say, okay, this is what we're going to do for the next 30 years for this company. You don't want to do that. You want to spend the time. It may take you 2 years of research because you get information in and then you say, well, let's research this data a little bit more. And it may take 6 months to get a report back so you can now analyze that data. But this is stuff that the leader is supposed to do. This is what a leader is there for. those long-term decision-making processes. And the short-term routine decisions, delegate to others, but remember, you are still ultimately responsible for that. But the reason you're delegating that authority to others to handle the routine tasks is so you can focus on these major decisions, because these major decisions is what will make or break you as a leader. Now, tomorrow we'll do our wrap-up of the week and everything that we covered. Till then, this is Bob Till reminding you, I'll see you then.